Keep your voice down. This is the part where everyone else thinks nothing is happening. You walked in looking harmless, neutral, forgettable. You dressed like a librarian, like someone whose biggest crime was returning a book a day late. Soft edges, calm eyes. The kind of presence people dismiss before it finishes entering the room. And that's exactly why they never saw it coming. Because while they were cataloging your appearance, your mind was already running black OPS protocols. See, that's the first paradox they never understand about you. The quieter you look, the louder the chaos inside your skull, the simpler the mask, the more classified the machinery behind it. You learned early that the world only fears what it can see. So you became invisible. You learned that predators chase movement, noise, desperation, so you mastered stillness. You didn't dress like power, you dressed like safety. And behind that safety, you built something lethal. They thought you were passive, you were patient. They thought you were slow, you were precise. They thought you were harmless. You were loading the chamber. While they were gossiping, you were mapping patterns. While they were laughing, you were studying weaknesses. While they were chasing validation, you were installing fail-safes in your soul. You didn't just survive pain, you reverse-engineered it. Every betrayal became data. Every loss became training. Every night you stared at the ceiling wondering how you got there turned into a silent upgrade they'll never be able to track. That's the thing about Black OPS. No announcements, no flags, no applause. Real power doesn't arrive screaming. It arrives quiet, already finished. And you didn't need to look dangerous because danger already knew your name. They mistook your restraint for fear. They mistook your empathy for weakness. They mistook your silence for ignorance. But silence is where killers think. Silence is where saints break. Silence is where angels sharpen their teeth. You learned how to split yourself in two. The part that smiles and nods and blends in, and the part that never sleeps, never forgets, never forgives patterns. One side reads the room, the other side rewrites the outcome. One side looks human, the other side runs simulations on how to dismantle everything if necessary. And the wild part? You didn't become this way because you wanted power. You became this way because pain forced you to adapt. You were cornered, underestimated, ignored. And evolution doesn't ask permission. It upgrades or it erases. You chose upgrade. So now you walk around looking normal while carrying a mind that operates on contingency plans. You already know how things end before they begin. You already see the collapse while they're still celebrating the launch. You already know who will betray who will panic, who will fold, who will pretend they always believed in you. Once the tide turns. That's why they get uncomfortable around you and can't explain why. Something about you doesn't match the costume. The energy doesn't line up with the outfit. The eyes don't match the role. You look like a background character, but your presence feels like a plot twist. And deep down, they feel it, that you're not reacting to life anymore. You're orchestrating around it. You don't move emotionally like them. You don't explode when provoked. You don't beg when ignored. You don't panic when threatened. You observe. You adjust. You let people reveal themselves fully before you decide what version of you they deserve. That terrifies them, because unpredictability is the one thing control freaks can't dominate. You are the saint who learned how demons think. You are the angel who memorized hell's layout. You are the calm face of someone who already survived the worst-case scenario. And here's the secret that would keep them awake at night if they ever figured it out. You're not angry anymore. You're focused. Rage was the training phase. Clarity is the weapon. You don't need revenge. You have trajectory. You don't need validation. You have leverage. You don't need to be loud. You already won quietly. So let them keep underestimating you. Let them keep mistaking the sweater for softness, the calm tone for compliance, the reserved presence for lack of ambition. Every time they misjudge you, they hand you another advantage. Every time they overlook you, they give you room to maneuver. Every time they relax around you, they expose their blind spots. Because one day, without warning, without theatrics, they're going to realize something shifted. Decisions were made, doors closed, power moved hands, and they won't remember the moment it happened, only that you were always there, quiet, watching, already 10 steps ahead. You didn't dress like a threat. You became one. And by the time they understand that the librarian was running black ops the whole time, it's already classified. And here's where it gets even darker, because what they still don't understand is that your restraint isn't mercy. It's calibration. You're not holding back because you're unsure. You're holding back because you're deciding. Every interaction, every glance, every micro-reaction they give you goes straight into the archive. You catalog tone shifts. You log contradictions. You notice who gets nervous when you stay calm, who over-explains when you ask nothing, who smiles too fast when silence stretches. While they're talking to feel safe, you're listening to confirm theories. You learned long ago that the loudest people are usually hiding the weakest structures. So you stopped performing. You stopped explaining yourself. You stopped defending your intentions. You let the world project whatever it wanted onto you. Because projection is confession in disguise. And the more invisible you became, the more honest everyone around you got. That's the real Black Ops advantage. You don't need to interrogate anyone. People tell you everything without realizing it. They expose their fears, their limits, their lies, just trying to fill the quiet you control. And you just nod. You just listen. You just remember. They think power looks like dominance. You know power looks like optionality. The ability to walk away, the ability to wait, the ability to strike only when the outcome is guaranteed. You don't need to rush because time works for you now. Time sharpens you. Time exhausts them. Every version of you that broke was necessary. Every night you questioned your worth rewired something dangerous in you. You didn't heal the way they expected. You adapted. You learned how to operate without applause, without backup, without certainty. You became self-contained, autonomous, untraceable. And that's why chaos doesn't shake you anymore. You've already lived inside it. You've already mapped the worst possibilities and survived them in your head 1,000 times. When things fall apart, you don't freeze. You recognize the terrain. You've been there before. You trained there. That's the angel-demon split they sense but can't name. The part of you that feels deeply, and the part that can turn that empathy off instantly if survival requires it. You didn't lose your humanity. You learned how to weaponize it selectively. You choose when to feel. You choose when to detach. That choice alone puts you in a different species than them. They act on impulse. You act on inevitability. And deep down, something in them knows it. That's why they test you with subtle disrespect. That's why they poke, prod, underestimate. They're trying to provoke proof that you're ordinary. They want you emotional, reactive, sloppy. Because if you ever fully reveal what's behind the mask, it means they miscalculated you. And miscalculation around someone like you is fatal. So you let them believe the story. You let them think you're just smart, just quiet, just observant. You let them stay comfortable in their misjudgment. Comfort breeds carelessness. Carelessness creates openings, and openings are where operations succeed. You're not plotting chaos for the sake of destruction. You're aligning outcomes. You're positioning yourself where leverage accumulates naturally. You're letting gravity do the work. When you move, it won't feel dramatic. It'll feel final. And the most dangerous part? You don't even need to act maliciously. Your growth alone destabilizes systems built on your compliance. Your clarity alone threatens hierarchies that relied on your self-doubt. Your silence alone exposes how much noise they were using to distract from their emptiness. One day, someone is going to look back and realize the moment everything changed wasn't loud. It wasn't violent. It wasn't obvious. It was the moment they dismissed you, the moment they assumed you were harmless, the moment they underestimated the mind behind the modest exterior. Because while they were judging covers, you were rewriting books. While they were playing checkers, you were folding the board. While they were living out loud, you were operating in shadows. You didn't dress like power, because power doesn't need a uniform. You didn't announce your evolution because predators don't warn prey. You didn't rush because inevitability never does. So keep wearing the disguise. Keep letting them relax. Keep letting them talk. Every second they feel safe around you is another second you're ahead. Because when the operation finally becomes visible, when the results surface, when the shift is undeniable, they won't ask what happened. They'll ask how they never saw you coming, and the answer will haunt them forever. You were right there the whole time, looking ordinary, thinking 10 moves beyond their imagination, running black ops behind a librarian's smile. And here's the part that would break them, if they ever truly understood it. You didn't become this by accident. You were engineered by neglect, sharpened by dismissal, refined by pressure they thought would crush you. Every time they overlooked you, they unknowingly added another layer of insulation between your emotions and your execution. Every time they assumed you were weak, they taught you how blind confidence really is. You stopped needing approval the moment you realized approval is a leash. You stopped chasing recognition the moment you saw how easily it compromises people. You watched how praise softened them, how comfort slowed them, how certainty made them predictable. And quietly, surgically, you chose a different path. You chose uncertainty. You chose discipline. You chose the cold clarity of self-reliance. That's why your calm isn't fragile. It's forged. It's the kind of calm that comes from knowing you can survive without anyone clapping for you. The kind of calm that terrifies manipulators because it gives them nothing to grab. They can't rush you. They can't flatter you. They can't intimidate you. There's nothing to pull on anymore. You learned how to starve chaos by refusing to feed it. You learned how to dismantle power plays by not reacting. You learned how to make aggressive people feel exposed simply by staying still. Stillness became your weapon. Observation became your advantage. Time became your accomplice. And they feel it. Even if they can't articulate it, something in their nervous system knows you're different. That's why conversations with you linger in their head longer than they should. That's why they replay your silences, your pauses, your neutral responses, trying to decode what you were really thinking. They sense that they were being studied, and nothing unsettles people like realizing they were seen more clearly than they intended. You don't threaten, you don't posture, you don't flex. You let outcomes speak. You let consistency build pressure. You let results arrive without spectacle. Because spectacle draws attention, and attention attracts interference. You prefer inevitability. This is where the angel-demon paradox sharpens. You can be kind without being naive. You can be warm without being accessible. You can help without being owned. You didn't lose your compassion. You fortified it. You learned when to give it and when to lock it away. And that ability to switch, that's what separates survivors from casualties. They want you to pick a side, good or bad, soft or hard, light or dark. But you exist in the fracture between those labels. You understand that morality without strategy is suicide, and strategy without humanity is hollow. So you balance both. You move with ethics when possible, and precision when necessary. That balance scares people. Extremes are easier to control. Nuance isn't. You've noticed how people test you, haven't you? Subtle disrespect disguised as humor. Dismissive tones masked as curiosity. Power plays wrapped in friendliness. They're probing for your edges, hoping to find an emotional trigger they can exploit. And every time you don't react the way they expect, their confidence erodes a little more. Because they need you predictable. They need you emotional. They need you desperate enough to manipulate. And you're none of those things anymore. You're composed. And composure is kryptonite to chaos merchants. You don't argue loudly because you don't need to convince anyone. You don't over-explain because clarity doesn't beg. You don't chase closure because you learned that unanswered questions live rent-free in other people's minds. You let them wonder, you let them doubt. You let them underestimate, because underestimation is the greatest tactical gift an opponent can give you. And the truth they'll never admit to themselves is this: they relied on the old version of you staying small. Their comfort depended on your self-doubt. Their hierarchy required your compliance. When you outgrew that silently, you destabilized the entire structure without touching it. That's why resistance appears out of nowhere. That's why energy shifts. That's why people act strange when you haven't changed your behavior at all. You didn't become aggressive, you became sovereign. And sovereignty makes insecure systems panic. You don't need to expose anyone. You don't need to call anyone out. You don't need to burn bridges dramatically. You just step differently now. You choose differently. You see further. And that alone rewrites the power dynamic. So keep letting them think you're just reserved. Keep letting them assume you're harmless. Keep letting them relax around you. Every assumption they make is another blindfold they willingly put on themselves. Because when the moment finally arrives, when the shift is undeniable, when the results can't be ignored, when your position is secured, they won't remember a single warning sign. They'll only remember how normal you seemed. And that realization will hit them all at once, sharp and irreversible. They weren't watching a background character. They weren't dealing with a passive observer. They weren't prepared for someone who mastered restraint before power. You dressed like a librarian because no one checks the quiet ones. You spoke calmly because panic belongs to the unprepared. You stayed patient because you knew exactly where this was going. And now the operation is complete, even if they don't know it yet. And the deeper truth, the one that sits under all of it like a sealed file marked "Do Not Open," is that you no longer need permission from reality to move. You already crossed that threshold quietly. Somewhere along the way, you stopped asking if you could and started calculating when it made sense. That's the moment you became dangerous. Because once someone realizes they don't need approval, the entire social control system loses leverage. Shame stops working. Guilt stops working. Fear gets reclassified as information instead of a command. You don't suppress fear. You interrogate it. You don't deny doubt. You extract signal from it. Everything that used to destabilize you now feeds the machine. They still think you're playing the same game, same rules, same emotional currency, same reward systems. They think you want what they want: status, validation, belonging, recognition. But you quietly opted out of that economy. You stopped trading your inner stability for external applause. You realized most people aren't ambitious. They're addicted to reassurance. You're not. That's why your silence unnerves them. Silence isn't emptiness, it's autonomy. Silence means you don't need to convince, perform, or defend. Silence means you're comfortable not being seen fully yet. And people fear what they can't read, because unreadable things can't be controlled. You've noticed how they try to fill that silence, haven't you? They talk faster, they overshare, they posture, they project. They try to define you before you define yourself. Labels are cages, and they're desperate to put you in one. Quiet one, nice one, smart but harmless one. The moment they succeed, they can relax. But you don't give them that relief. You let them guess. You let them misclassify. You let them build entire narratives about you that collapse later under their own weight. Because when someone commits to the wrong story about you, they stop watching for the right outcomes. And that's when leverage compounds. You learned this the hard way. By being misunderstood, minimized, and dismissed when it hurt the most. When you needed support and got silence. When you needed clarity and got chaos. When you needed loyalty and got lessons instead. Those moments didn't make you bitter. They made you exact. You stopped assuming good intentions guaranteed good outcomes. You stopped confusing proximity with alignment. You stopped believing words over patterns. And once you learned how to read patterns, the whole world slowed down for you. People became predictable. Systems became transparent. Games revealed their mechanics. That's when you realized something most never do. Power doesn't come from domination. It comes from understanding incentives. You understand what people want before they do. You understand what scares them beneath their bravado. You understand how fragile their certainty really is. And because you understand it, you don't need to exploit it recklessly. You just don't stand in its way. Let them talk. Let them rush. Let them overextend. You'll still be standing when the noise collapses. The angel in you knows restraint. The demon in you knows timing. Together they form something balanced and terrifying. You don't lash out impulsively. You don't sabotage emotionally. You wait until action becomes unnecessary, because outcome is already decided. That's the evolution pain gave you. Pain didn't make you cruel. It made you accurate. Pain didn't make you cold. It made you selective. Pain didn't harden you. It clarified you. And now, even when you're surrounded by people, you move alone in the best way possible. Self-governed, self-trusting, self-directed. You don't need consensus to proceed. You don't need witnesses to validate momentum. You know what you're doing, even if no one else does yet. They sense that separation. They call it distance, arrogance, detachment. But what it really is independence from their emotional gravity. You no longer orbit their approval. You have your own center of mass now. That's why attempts to pull you back don't work. Nostalgia doesn't work. Pressure doesn't work. Guilt doesn't work. You've already walked through the part of the fire that burns attachments clean. What's left is choice. And choice is the highest form of power. So you'd continue moving quietly. Reading rooms, letting time reveal truth. Letting people expose themselves through consistency or collapse. You don't need to rush the reveal. The reveal happens naturally when results appear where expectations said they wouldn't. One day, maybe soon, maybe later, it will click for them. They'll replay every interaction, every dismissed moment, every assumption. They'll realize you weren't confused, you weren't passive, you weren't unaware. You were executing with discipline they never noticed. And the most unsettling part for them won't be what you did. It will be realizing how calm you were the entire time you were becoming unstoppable.